All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Aldo Puicón-Pérez here with Matai Parr, and we'll go to the next slide. And we're both graduates of ArtCenter's MDes Interaction Design program, as Julian said. Both were part of the inaugural cohort, which was made up of about 7 students. And like you all, our final term culminated in a capstone project as well. My capstone looked at how community-centered interaction design might enable new services and tools for cultivating more worker cooperatives. Matai's capstone looked at integrating social emotional learning frameworks into gaming to support social emotional health and social skill development. So we thought it would be good to give you a better sense of those projects. We thought it would be good to share our 1-minute videos about each of our projects that we created in our final term. And so we'll do that.
Hello, my name is Matai, and this is a brief overview of my interaction design case study titled NextGen. This project was aimed to change how we think about the next generation of gaming. It shifts the focus from technological advancements to emphasizing how games and player platforms can cultivate interpersonal social skills. This project showcases a new game development framework by interweaving various behavioral change methodologies into a unique approach to identifying player typologies. I demonstrated how we could positively impact players' perspectives, needs, and expectations when engaging with system interactions. It also discusses some things designers should consider when creating interventions for social dynamics, and finally covers a newly designed feature set, showcasing how this framework can be applied to a pre-established player platform using data collected from user surveys, interviews, and playtesting sessions. If you want to hear more, please contact me, or watch the complete video in the link below. Thank you.
Considering Cooperation is a graduate interaction design capstone project by Aldo Puicón-Pérez. It investigates how community-centered interaction design might enable new pathways to job stability via worker ownership. This body of work, rooted in transition design, culture making, and solidarity economics, focuses on shaping emergent technologies into unique, embodied, cooperative, and accessible experiences. The suite of services and tools that emerged are collectively housed under Cactus, a grassroots community lab established to grow worker-owned cooperatives in the Coachella Valley. To learn more, please visit cactus.org. So those were our videos from our capstone term. And in addition to being graduates of the MDes program, Matai and I are also the founding members of Another Way Out, a games research and development collective focused on social wellness in gaming. Our journey in building Another Way Out started not too long after we graduated from ArtCenter in August of 2023. And almost 2 years out now, our collective has grown from 2 to 3 members, with Ian, an illustrator, joining us for the ride. Our presentation tonight will highlight this journey, which has been and continues to be a series of prototypes of both games and of alternate ways of organizing as designers. Next slide. Yeah. So we named our presentation Beyond Portfolios and Paychecks because while those things are important, we wanted to highlight how community and collaboration have sustained us as designers in this journey. Our hope is that this also offers more options for you to consider as you near your own graduations in a few weeks now. And then next slide. Tonight, Matai will go through our collaborative journey since graduating ArtCenter. And then after, I will walk us through a quick exercise to map out your own design communities. And there'll also be an invitation to bring our communities together. And finally, we'll end with a Q&A to answer any of your questions if you have them. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Matai.
Awesome. Thank you, Aldo. And hello, everybody. My name is Matai, as you've probably heard a million times already. Tonight, I'm going to be sharing a story, or rather the story that we have about coming together to form another way out. But before I get into it, I think I wanted to go over and expand a little bit on what we do and why it is, along with the domain of our research. So to give a little context within this domain, we kind of focus on third spaces, particularly digital, which are sometimes often referred to as fourth spaces. But third space is a term coined by sociologist Ray Olenberg, which refers to a physical location other than work or home where there is little to no financial barrier to entry. These are usually spaces where people gather to socialize and connect with each other. And through our research, we recognize that there was a trend of more people using digital technology to actually fulfill their social needs. And we really wanted to work towards building spaces that are more considerate of people's social and emotional health when online. We had a particular interest in gaming as one of these digital third spaces or fourth places, particularly because of, rather, within new research through Pew's Research Center in 2024, revealed that about 85% of teens say that they play games, and about a fourth tenth say so about they do so daily. Additionally, 72% of teens say they play games for the reason of just wanting to spend time with their friends or spend time with others, which we felt was a massive user base. So we really wanted to focus on games as the third space, particularly because of a challenge that we found, where we believe that most game interactions aren't really constructive to social and emotional well-being. This is mostly through our own lived experiences as well the research I've collected through my own practice, along with the emerging fields that are growing around the topic in social dynamics, player dynamics design, to actually address this issue. So at Another Way Out, essentially, our core belief is that the quality of a person-to-person interaction affects the social development outcomes. And as designers, we can shape communication, collaboration, and interpersonal skills through the interactions that we design. Now that that's out of the way, let's look at how we actually got started and what we built and where we are today. Um, so to begin, I wanted to continue working on how this really began is I wanted to continue working on my capstone research project. Um, During that time, I developed a framework based on the research from the Collaborative of Academics and Social Learning Collective in I think it's in Chicago, excuse me, in combination with different player typologies and considerations around the social learning theory, along with auditing design interactions like the Abbey method and Gerald's principles. I'm sure you've all heard of these things. But through this theory alone, I felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like even though I had a framework for designers to use, I never actually used it, and then I needed to test this through an actual design practice. So I created a game by myself in 72 hours where I essentially focused on how I can build a game mechanic using this framework. To do this, I focused on building digital board games through Tabletop Simulator, particularly because it's really easy to get a board game to embody the core essence of a game mechanic very quickly, and you can get in front of players very quickly. Um, After this, I learned that the game wasn't fun and that the framework was really difficult to use, which, it happens. It happens. So I realized I needed some help, and I asked Aldo to join me in the effort. Um, and since then, we've been working. Oh, since they were working, I think at the time on a game writing class, is why I reached out to them. But since then, we've spent the next year building out our ideas, with each prototype introducing new insights, but also issues. Um, During our time playtesting, we revealed several critical issues. Sessions sometimes felt like research labs rather than engaging experiences. The frameworks were sometimes complex and stifled the creative ideation process. Balancing the game fun and like constructive social outcome was really challenging. And time again, we just keep coming up with these different frameworks and issues. And after around 6 or 7 prototypes, each taking about 2 to 6 months, we hit a wall where we were ideating indefinitely and testing concepts, only driven by the question of, does this framework work? When we realized that we should really be asking is this game fun? And this really felt like a crucial lesson. Um, Also, by this point in the development, we realized that we were developing an actual game design workflow and that we should document and refine this process so that other designers could follow it and kind of achieve similar results. So we realized we needed to adjust our approach and apply feedback quickly. So whenever something felt off, we immediately collaborated to work on it, whether it be by playing the games ourselves or running a simulation of how we think designers might approach our framework, have they seen it for the first time. We learned that through this, we learned that all feedback can be valuable if you know how to ask the right questions. And this requires understanding your audience, what you want to learn, and how to actually dig deeper into responses. And having the space to practice how to ask better questions across different types of people and context really help. Um, so we're at this point in the journey. We found a game where we felt we could hone in on, and we needed to be more specific in order to get the results that we wanted. So to do this, we felt as though we should all take ownership of different parts of the project. I focused on the gameplay and how it works within our framework to be both impactful and fun for players. Ian took time to focus on building a consistent design language with their illustrations. And Aldo began working on building out the world and telling the story that was consistent with our original goals and making the game centered around social and emotional well-being. Overall, this culminated in us building Another Way Out, um, a safe place to practice giving feedback along with growing our leadership skills within a small group. We felt that this process helped build our confidence since we owned the actual vision. And we also felt as though we could take a lot more risks since we could drive the direction and decision making of where we wanted to go next. Uh, Additionally, we found a lot of growth opportunities. So even with the limited free time that we had, having designated space where people can expect you to show up motivated us to dedicate like 1 to 3 hours a week to working on a meaningful project alongside passionate people. Um, so, where are we today and what do we have? Um, our first thing is the intent engine, which is a 3-hour SEL game design process. We have it developed to guide game designers through thoughtful questions and incorporate social and emotional learning skills through their ideation. We had the chance to take this out to Millikan High School out in Long Beach, and we gave this worksheet out to students about ninth to 10th grade, had them, and it was really fun seeing them kind of interact and think about games in a different way. We got see a lot of their game ideas, and give feedback in real time. But after testing this with high school students, we realized that the framework needed different packaging depending on our audience's experience level. Who would have imagined? From 15-year veterans to complete beginners, we are now currently working on packaging as a free resource for any designers who are interested in it. Also, we have our actual board game, Writer's Room. It is a semi-cooperative social deduction card judging game where players are writers salvaging a film from the collapsing studio. The gameplay spans over 3 acts where they're asked to rewrite scripts, critique work, and balancing budgets, all while responding to studio demands. We currently have a prototype available on Tabletop Sim for those who are interested, and we are going to head out to Unpubbed and Unplugged this November if anybody is out there. Um, so what are our lessons learned through all this? We felt that one, that collective organizing is a great way to stay organized and motivated. Two, getting feedback from peers helped us iterate and set goals for our prototypes. And three, practicing leadership skills is important for building our confidence in our own work. And at the bottom line, we just felt that any steps forward towards your goal is still progress, and having people to accompany you makes the journey significantly more sustainable and enjoyable. And that's our story so far. Although.
So we can start going into questions, but before that, we did want to do like a quick exercise with you all. I mean, as you heard in the story, like Matai and I basically created like a dedicated time and space for us to kind of hang out and talk design, talk games, And it's through that process that the games emerge, and then, us having that space for us to continue developing the games over time. And so we think it's important to be able to like recognize that we are in community with one another, and that other folks probably have that same technique or approach. So this should be a short exercise. We'll take a moment. It's a mind map exercise. You can grab a piece of paper if you have one, or if you'd like to close your eyes and maybe just do it in your mind, that's okay too. We'll go to the next slide. Let's start by drawing your name in the center, and this will be you. And then we'll add a couple circles around this circle. And in these circles, you can name the different collaborators you're already working with, right? They can be creatives, they can be designers. And we'll just give you like a minute or so to kind of go through that. And when you're ready, you can draw a second ring of circles around that one. And these circles, these could be additional folks in the design community that you're interested in, other creatives, other organizations that you may be in relationship or have started, to be in relationship with, or want to be sort of working and collaborating together on. And then when you feel you're kind of at a good place, and take a moment and look at your map and just make notes about things that you're noticing. This is probably like the beginnings of your design community. This map will change over time as you revisit it every now and then. But the point of this exercise is really to kind of show ourselves who we are in community with, as well as who we want to be in community with, and to help us remember that collaborative relationships grow strongest when we dedicate time and space for them to flourish. All right, and so you can continue that exercise afterwards, but that was just kind of to get you started. And as we enter our third year, we're expanding Another Ways Out community in concrete ways. So while our core focus as a collective will continue to be to look at game design, research, and development, we're also very excited about this idea of wanting to work with more designers and creatives who are interested in how their projects impact social emotional well-being. And so if parts of our journey or the parts of our story interested you tonight, we would hopefully you can consider adding us to be one of those circles in your design community mind map. But also for ourselves as MDes, graduates of this MDes program, we already have a circle for you all to be part of you're all part of our map. And so we're establishing a new standing meeting open to anyone interested in sharing creative work and their journeys. We call this the collaborative office hours, where we're inviting our friends and collaborators to take part in sharing what they've been working on, what they're up to, where they are wanting to go. And it's basically a space for being able to, yeah, just have that opportunity to continue to share your work in a safe space, as Matai called it, and get support and show up to support others who might need that support as well. We envisioned this as a space of reciprocity and happening about like once or twice a month, depending on need. Yeah, so if this interested you at all, please reach out to us. And more immediately, if you're all looking for feedback on projects before or even after graduation, like don't hesitate to get in touch with us as well. We're open to helping out as best as we can. And these are all sort of like some of the things that we've learned and like what was important for us after graduating from this program is to just continue having that community space where we could talk design. Because both of us found ourselves not really having that right away. So with that, if there are questions, we are happy to answer them, or if there's anything that you want us to go back and clarify, we can do that as well.